Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/Wisdom of the Sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show and welcome to Krishna's Appearance Day, Krishna Janma, Maha Mahotsav. This is the big day of the year. We're real excited. And yesterday we celebrated by reading Advent of Lord Krishna, having kirtan. If you joined us for Sweet Baby Krishna. For our Patreon members, if you want to be a Patreon member, go to Wisdom of the Sages, patreon.com/Wisdom of the Sages. It was really sweet yesterday, wasn't it? Got a whole crew. And here I'm here with a big group of live who are wrapping up their the Beauty of Bhakti Vaishnav Etiquette Week. You know, this, because I'm thinking, like, for our ashram weeks, this has to be like, this should be the first course they take, because you know, I was having such an appreciation for the way the people behave with one another. What can I get you? How can I serve you? They served out the feast. It was just like, the culture of Vaishnavism is so sweet. It makes you feel loved. And without it, you know, the material world's trained us in so many bad habits. So it's such an important course that Bhakti Lata gave. I think we should make it like the preeminent course that before or at least highly recommended that you take it first before other ones, because otherwise it's sort of like doing ballet in a big pair of like combat boots. It's sort of like you clunk around with your old bad habits, and you can't sort of like you bring your bad habits into the sacred circles. But she teaches you the art of service and love, and it's just magical. And I see such transformation here. So I want to thank Bhakti Lata.
Sounds great.
No, I'm excited. And Kostuba's coming tomorrow. We're really excited for that.
Yeah.
We just start our second week. And what are you planning on teaching, sir?
You know, we're going to teach like all about like the lineage that we practice, and we're going to go back and we're going to look at Bhakti historically, how it comes down, you know, in the different centuries, and then get into, you know, go deeper and deeper into the Gaudiya Vaishnava lineage, learn about the 6 Goswamis, learn about all the different representatives and how it all plays out. What's special about it? You know, I think it'll fill in a lot of gaps for people.
You know,
I'm hoping it will.
It surely will. What I'm finding out, what I'm really appreciating about this ashram week that's going on is it's like the education you need before you start. It's foundational education in this stuff. And it's all day long. And you don't just like take a class on it. You're actually living it within the confines of an ashram. And you get some special blessings and some special sweetness by just interacting with everybody that's there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to you coming. And we're going to do Bhakti Lata again, December 9th through the 16th at Super Soul Farm. So if you're interested, email Bhakti Retreats 108 to jump on that, Bhakti Retreats 108. And then we're going to set up, I think, like five next year, 5 different courses that we can take with different presenters that we bring on the show that we feel are inspirational, again, to give us that like Bhakti training in these, you know, in the ABCs of spiritual life. Really excited. Great. And then, of course, it is the memorial we're having for our good beloved Gopal Chandra, who passed away recently. And if you haven't heard that episode, the passing of Gopal Chandra and his interview he did before he died, he's just a great soul. And we're going to celebrate his life tomorrow at his mother's house. So if you're up here, let us know. And we are going to go there and chant and sing. And it's what he requested. Please, I know I'm leaving my body. This is how I want it to be. It was really such a conscious way. This is how I want to be remembered, in a joyous way, hearing and chanting, invite all the Vaishnavas over and feed them. So we're excited for that. And Mara's cooking for Shad. We're all excited. It's excited, it's an exciting weekend to remember Krishna and to remember our life here as spirit souls and on our spiritual journey.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to make it a special show today, too. Mara, you got any announcements for us?
Yes, we have Back to Recovery group meeting today at 1 p.m. And tomorrow's our Q&A day. So if people have questions that they'd like answered, they can email them to us at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com.
You got a big day of cooking ahead of you today, Mara, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's business as usual for you.
Yeah.
Cooking with love. Kostuba, any announcements from you?
No announcements.
So,
I guess I'll be at the Bhakti Center tonight. We'll be celebrating.
That's a big announcement.
Yeah, we'll be celebrating from 6:30 until 12:30, in the morning. And you know what? My slot, I've been asked to speak, right before the midnight darshan, right? So like from 11 till 12.
We're going to call that the headlining spot.
Well, I don't know. Krishna's the headliner.
You're the headliner. Yeah, Krishna's the headliner, yes.
But Janavi and I are going to do something together where we're going to do the Govinda Damodar Stotra together. She's going to sing the verses, and I'll speak a little bit on them, and I think it'll be nice.
It's going to be incredible.
Sri Prahlad is going to speak earlier in the evening. There's going to be a drama. I think, is Julie Blondine, are you in that drama? Are you part of that?
We need a drama here at the farm. Who can
like
do
a
it?
dance drama.
We need a
or
drama.
Something. Yeah. Something going on. And,
we need a drama here at the farm, Kostuba.
I'm always drama at the farm.
I'm always sort of a drama queen myself.
Yeah, I was going to say there's always plenty of drama.
Maybe me and Bunky can go in there and
yeah, you gotta get Punky doing something.
Well, we were gonna today's show is gonna be we wanted to start with some beautiful prayers of Krishna.
And then are we gonna just zip right over Jane? Because we could wrap up our Jane week.
You want to wrap up Jane week? Okay. Just Jane mentioned the blue cowherd child appearing at all in her jungle meditations?
Indirectly, yes.
Indirectly. Okay, we'll take. All right, great. I didn't even look at your Jane thing today. I thought we were going right to Krishna's birth.
See, no, well, I think there's a connection here.
Okay.
Got it?
Anything that brings us back. Here's Jane Goodall.
Okay.
Anything that brings us back into communion with the natural world and the spiritual power that permeates all life will help us to move a little further along the path of human, moral, and spiritual evolution. She's a very deep lady, this spiritual lady. I didn't realize how spiritual she was.
Well, she's out there. You don't spend your life, out in the woods and
serving living beings
with animals unless you're getting some kind of spiritual connection, right?
Yeah.
But I looked at this and I said, well, hey, that's what today is, right? Jamashtami. We have it's a festival for everyone, and like she says, any little thing. Well, in one sense, this is our thing, right? This will bring us into communion with the natural world. It'll bring us in communion with the spiritual power that permeates all life. Who's that?
Sweet baby Krishna,
right?
And little sweet baby Krishna.
Yeah, and that helps our human, moral, and spiritual evolution. We gotta. This is the way that the calendar in the Bhakti tradition works. Is that it's just bringing up one day after another to help you commune, right? To help you reconnect with that spiritual power. So you gotta build it into the schedule. And this is like one of the big ones on the schedule.
It's amazing how just by associating with nature and serving, you get deep spiritual realization. And although I appreciate the these lineages of different traditions that come wisdom teachings around the world, why can't people just see that there's no one culture has a monopoly on God. You know, you can't, no one spiritual practice has a monopoly on God, that God is everywhere. And wherever you get some inspiration to go deeper and dig into your own heart, uproot all the shrapnel that the material world has caused birth after birth, and that there's truth to be taken everywhere. And it's only at like a very, very low level where you see my God is the God, and these guys are all practicing wrongly. You know, it doesn't mean you might not gravitate towards a particular practice, but it's important to see that spiritual thread running through, or else what happens is, in the name of spirituality, we become hateful of other people that aren't like us. And this is what we've seen historically happen in religion. It's why a lot of people are not into it. They're just not into God. And you can't even say God without people, you know, you're trying to say God in a yoga class and people are like, ooh, it's a cringe. But you can't kick God out of spirituality. And, you know, you always hear people say, oh, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. I think if religions presented themselves and weren't so exclusive, we might have a different feeling. Because what does religion mean anyway? It's to, same as yoga, to relink with divinity. Yoga, right? To come together.
To unite.
To unite. Anything else you want to say about Jane Goodall? I mean, we're going to wrap up her week.
No,
What's next week? Yoda week?
Oh, we could go there. We could do that.
Yoda's very wise.
Yeah.
Let's do Yoda week next week. Okay. Now, unlike Yoda, who's quite ghastly, charming, sweet,
he's not ghastly. He's cute.
Well, he's cute. I mean, he does have a wrinkled face and long pointy ears.
Ghastly, not ghastly. He's old.
Right, not ghastly.
He's just old. A little small and green, but other than that.
We have the most charming, sweet Krishna.
Well,
I'd like to read some prayers from Bibal Mangala Thakur.
Oh, is it the Govinda Damodar Stotra or something else? What you got?
No, this is the Krishna Karnamrita.
Oh, yeah.
The Amrita for the Karnam, for the nectar for the ears of Sri Krishna. Now, before we start this, you got to read the invocation that he says to his guru. Can I read it in Dravida melody here? Chintamani Jayati Somagiri Guru Me Shiksha Guruscha Bhagavan Siki Pinchamoli Yat Pada Kalpatarupa Lavasek Hareshu Lila Svayambara Rasam Labante Jayasri. Whoo! Almost didn't get that all out. All glories to Chintamani, all glories to Chintamani and my initiating spiritual master, Somagiri. All glories to my instructing spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who wears a peacock feathers in his crown. Under the shade of his lotus feet, which are like desire trees, Sri Radharani enjoys the transcendental mellow of an eternal consort. So, you know, he had this, he said, all glories to Chintamani, he first offers obeisances to a Shiksha guru of his, Chintamani. And it's such an interesting story because sometimes when we're trained in a spiritual practice, we can still veer away from a spiritual practice. Common happens all the time. And so he's sort of confessing his life. What he had was he developed an attraction towards a prostitute. And he left everything just for this prostitute. And just like any addiction, and our Bhakti Recovery group will explain how addictions work if you're not familiar with them, you will risk everything to get your fix. You'll risk your family, you'll risk your business, you'll risk your life just to get your fix. And he was seeing this prostitute on a regular basis, and her name was Chintamani. And she was actually a devotee. And he one time, in the midst of this horrible tropical storm, swam across a flooded river. You know, the river was treacherous. There were some crocodiles in the river. It was like one like catastrophe after another. And he finally made it to see the lady. And when he opened the door, she said, "You've come so far just for this? You've risked your life just for this? You've given up everything in this horrible situation just for this?" if you were that focused on the real Chintamani, Lord Krishna, who is the touchstone, that's what Chintamani means, who fulfills all actual desires, think how transformed your life would be. And that's all I needed to hear. And sometimes it's just a word, a sentence, a statement, a takeaway, a nugget that will change your life. Somebody says something and it clicks into place. And you're like, what am I thinking? What was I thinking? It's all over. That part of my life is dead. And sometimes Krishna speaks through people. Can you think of any other situations like that, Shiva? Someone just hears one thing and they're like, that's it.
Well, there's that famous story of that, I forget his name, maybe you remember, but there's that one politician who, he was like in India, he was a politician. And, you know, there's always like this bitter rivalry. Or, well, in any case, he was walking down the street one day and the street sweeper was there, you know, some guy with a big, you know, in India, they got those big brooms, you know. And
Lala Babu.
Yeah, Lala Babu. And so he was just standing on the street, and the street sweeper, you know, he just turned and he's like some big famous guy apparently, and at least like, you know, had some kind of political power. And this was just a street sweeper, but the street sweeper, he was kind of in his way, and he said, "Hey, move on. Time is passing." Right?
The sun is setting or something like that.
And so when he heard that, it kind of just clicked and said, like, yes, life is passing, and I'm just sitting here, you know, just wasting my life, caught up in all of this mundane politics, and he just, that became his inspiration. But you know, it's amazing that you take like someone like Bilvamangala Thakur. He's no ordinary. The poetry that he writes about Krishna is off the charts. I mean, it's incredibly beautiful and it's full of deep realization. And he had darshan of Krishna, you know, his form, and you know, he was blind. There's a whole nother, you know, story.
It's a whole other story. We're not going to go there today.
Yeah, but this is, to me, one thing that's significant about what you're bringing up is so many years later, here he is writing this important text. This text is so beautiful. You know, his visions of Krishna are so poetically beautiful and so meaningful that Sri Chaitanya himself was reading them and relishing them. And in his so it's like a very high level, you know, spiritual revelation that he's sharing. And so we can understand that he's in a whole nother place than he was when he was swimming across that river trying to find his prostitute, right?
Right.
He's in the deepest yogic, you know, meditations. So we can assume this is years later. He's living in Vrindavan and he's writing poetry like Krishna Karnamrita. Still, he says that it was that prostitute, right? It was Chintamani who I see as my guru, meaning that he saw that the message, the spiritual message, descended through her, right? And that's what guru means, right? It's like she may not have lived her life in a way that's entirely, you know, according to yogic principles, but Krishna did speak through her, and he respected that, even so many years later, right? He didn't. It meant just as much to him because Krishna worked through her. And therefore, he honored her. You know, you got to see wherever
that's an incredible. Yeah. That's a great realization too. That there's Krishna tags people to touch our lives.
Yeah,
they may not even be of high spiritual stature, but it's nice. You know, when I do my morning puja too, I like to really reflect on all the people. And like I said earlier, also that when I was writing my book, I had to go through my life. And when you really go through your life, you realize how God has been sending messengers to us our entire life. And at certain times I could hear them. I welcomed them. I invited them. I called for them. And at certain times I just didn't want to hear it, but they were still there. And as we really reflect on our life while we're on our spiritual path, we'll really realize that we have always been taken care of. We've been getting like messages and downloads, and we just either have accepted them or not. But yeah, I like to go through and think, wow, Krishna didn't send this person like the classical Swami to me. For me, my life, he sent me like guys from the hardcore scene who I like respected that didn't necessarily appear spiritual, but they were carrying a spiritual message, and they were tagged. That by them being tagged by Krishna, and therefore I'm in debt to them. And it's nice to remember who you're in debt to. And once we realize we're in debt, we realize like we've been cared for. That's the natural feeling of being a debtor, that like people have been giving to us. And the natural feeling after that is I want to give back. I want to thank them. I want to appreciate them. And we see how everything is sort of interrelated. And so, yes, whenever I go to Radhakund or holy places or go over downhill, I always pray for the Cro-Mags. Do you know that?
I didn't know that.
I do. I pray for the Cro-Mags every time I'm there.
And you know, I think there's two ways you could look at it. In other words, like it may be that Chintamani wasn't a deeply spiritually realized person, but because Krishna spoke through her, he honored her.
Mm-hmm.
Or it may be that although she was in an external situation that didn't appear to be deeply spiritual and was, you know, problematic in different ways, she was actually deeply spiritual. You know, and Prabhupada even uses this word. And remember, if we go way back to like one of our early shows, I remember, you know, Prabhupada in one of his commentaries, he's writing about prostitutes. And he says sometimes these prostitutes are great devotees of Krishna. And he said, in the term that he used was by some trick of chance.
A trick of chance, they end up in this situation.
Yeah, and that doesn't go, you know, only for prostitute. It could be like for anyone, you know, like anyone may appear to be like living a totally mundane life, trapped in material circumstances. It seems like externally they seem like, hey, this isn't the way a deep spiritual
they're
person
out of
lives.
They're out of it. Why would they have this career, this lifestyle, etc.? But you see by the way they talk, by the way they think, even sometimes in their sadness for their situation, they're still deeply connected.
It's you know who I spent a little time with yesterday, right? It was on the phone, but
who?
The spiritual scientist.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Please do tell.
Chaitanya Charan. And we spoke for about an hour and a half. And
nice.
You know, because we're kind of like, we're friends, and we're kind of like do the same thing, you know, like we kind of speak about bhakti in different forums.
In different communities. And
yeah. And he's such a deep thinker, you know. And the conversation, he just kind of steered the conversation. But it really had to do with his trying to understand more essentially exactly what we're trying to do, and to try to break it. I could see his conversation was like a process of trying to break through the stereotypical patterns that we fall into and really try to understand what is most essential, you know. And so part of that conversation was like looking at people. We were both sharing examples of people that externally may be but by trick of chance, right? They might be in a circumstance that seems to disqualify them as being deeply spiritual.
Sure.
But actually, if you look more closely, they may be far more spiritual than the people that stereotypically look like they are. You know, and if we're going to be deeply spiritual ourselves, and if we're going to be effective in sharing spirituality, we need to go to the essence. That, you know, the term is saragrahi, right? Like seeking the essence, not the externals, not the outer shell, not, you know, but like really you know, perhaps that Chintamani, you know, may have been living as a prostitute, but if you look externally, say, oh, that's not deeply, but if you actually understand her heart, her mind, and her heart, it may be her sentiments, her thoughts may be far more deeply spiritual than the priest, you know, the Brahmin, you know, whatever it might be, right? And so I think, you know, that's as we get deeper, we begin to see, we're not looking for the externals to see who's spiritual. We're looking for something else, something that's internal and maybe hidden.
I love that. And also it keeps us on our toes about treating people with dignity.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's right.
Careful.
Everyone.
Like, right. Yeah. Just we're not just going to, we don't just treat spiritual people with dignity. We understand that anybody can be a very spiritual person. We just don't know. We don't know their backstory. We don't know their previous. Wouldn't it be great if you just could have a vision into people's previous lives?
Well, you know, I think we
you can learn that.
I know you're into
There's
that kind of
thing.
To learn. But I think what we definitely need to learn, right, is we
Shape shifting. Shape shifting.
no, not shape shifting.
That would
That'll
be
come,
good.
Raghunath.
You
That
could
will
use
come.
it in a lot of spiritual ways. Too.
Raghunath, that will come without your seeking it. Okay, like
Kama
you just
Rupa,
focus
they
on this
call it.
bhakti path, and that will come without any external endeavor for it. But
Yeah.
I think we need to break our habits of this external vision, and we need to we you know, we were both sharing all these examples, and most of them were coming through Radhanath Swami. Radhanath Swami pointing it out to us. Look at this person, right?
Right.
This person loves the devotees, loves to come to kirtan, loves to hear about Bhagavad Gita and so on, but they're expressing their own inability to give up eating meat, right? And crying about it.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we might say, look, this person isn't even following the simple principles, right? But he would put a frame around that and say, now look at this person, right? Maybe they're not following the principles, but look how sincerely they regret it. You know, and look at the humility that they have. And humility is that it's said that humility is the conduit for Krishna's mercy, right? When we think we don't need it, we don't get it. When we think I desperately need it, then we receive it, you know? And so who's actually, is it the person that can follow these external principles but is proud? Or is it the person that has trouble following them but is humble?
Sure.
Bhakti
is a different metric of evolution compared to Jnana Yoga, where the
Yes,
Jnana
no
Yoga
renunciation.
metric would be, right? Cut. If you can cut it out of your life due to your own determination, you're the winner. And if you and in Bhakti, it's like if your heart is actually in the right place and you're trying with all your heart, then Krishna will actually come and take care of you.
Hey, we got to start talking about the sweet, sweet baby Krishna.
All right, let's dive into Krishna now. Okay. Well, I want to do some prayers. Should we do the Bhagavatam prayers first? Because I really want to do these prayers of Bibla Mangala. I didn't say any yet.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm trying to bring it back to that.
Okay. There isn't it. Here's one. I won't do the Sanskrit today.
Okay.
There is an entity who has the appearance of an adolescent boy, and
who is talking about,
who is being inundated with desire tree flowers falling from the fingertips of the damsels of heaven. That boy is completely carefree, situated in transcendental beatitude. What's the word? Beatitude. As he sends forth waves of sound from his famed flute. He is encircled by thousands of effulgent milkmaids whose garments are becoming loose again and again from their extreme pleasure at hearing the flute, and who are trying to hold them up. They're trying to pull up their clothes, right? The adolescent boy.
I mean, that's such it's an erotic and it's such an esoteric point, but I mean,
it is
in other words,
like
he's
just by, right?
Yeah, he's so, not only can he increase your desire for him, but even as just through his flute, like
their clothes are loosening.
They're girls that externally the circumstances, they're meant to be very chaste and not attracted to this boy and so on. And not only is he attracting their hearts, but like even as he plays, they're having to hold up their clothes because he's like he's just so powerfully attractive. Anyway, please continue.
The adolescent boy, the pinnacle of munificence, places liberation from birth and death into the hands of his surrendered devotees.
Wow, he just plays. You see, that's that point, right? There is so much in that one verse. It's just like, and it's so beautifully poetically stated. But this is just as I was saying to you. Shape shifting will come to you, Raghunath. You just dedicate your life to Krishna. You don't have to separately endeavor for it. So liberation from birth and death is being just placed. It's something that the yogis strive so hard and fight so hard and give up so much.
They say the bhakti yogis have all mystic powers if they want them.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Well, there you go. But here it's just like liberation itself, right? It's like it's something. It's liberation is higher. It's harder to achieve than mystic powers.
How about Prapti City?
Yeah, it's harder.
Things just are manifesting.
You can have Prapti City and still be trapped in this world and controlled by your mind and senses.
I know. But I'm saying I don't want Prapti City like that. I want to be a pure devotee of Lord Krishna and have Prapti City. So I can make offerings.
That's the problem, though. You see, once that's the kind of Zen thing about it, Raghunath. Once you let go of your desire for Prapti City,
then I won't want the Prapti City.
Then it'll come.
I
Once you don't
think
want it anymore, it'll come.
I have a different theory. I think I'm going to get Propti City when I reach that highest love of God, and I'm going to use all my Propti cities to serve Krishna.
Like, in
oh,
other
Krishna,
words,
what would you like for
I need a
breakfast
club
today? A
gym,
mango?
boom, and then
Woo!
you'll offer it. Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if that's the sole reason why you want Propti
It's
City,
the
right
sole
now,
reason.
are you sure?
Yes.
I think you need to look a little deeper into that and just make sure that that's entirely
It's not to
your
impress
reason.
people at parties. That will come.
Okay.
That will come.
Well, I suppose if that's entirely your reason for wanting it, then that's an entirely pure desire.
Yeah. Shalagram Sheila's. Okay, wait a second. May that Lord of our life, that young boy Krishna, shine incessantly within our hearts.
Oh.
His eyes, full of love for Radha, are the abode of infinite beauty. Every day they appear newer and newer. At every step they increase their charm and elegance. And at every moment they sparkle more and more brilliantly.
He's seen the form of Krishna, right? Even though he's blind, internally he's seen the form of Krishna.
Let's make that commitment today. Like, we're committed to seeing Krishna face to face. I don't want to see Krishna in a rainbow. I don't want to see Krishna in a leaf. I don't want to see Krishna in a waterfall. I want to see Krishna face to face. Let's make that commitment today. What do you say?
All right.
Let's just do it. When we're chanting, Krishna is there to the degree that I'm calling him in my life. If I'm just thinking of other stuff, Krishna's not going to come. He'll come in some what do you call it, Namabas way. But if we really want Krishna, we got to really call him, and he's going to come. All right, here's another. I bow down to the feet of Lord Krishna, whose jeweled anklets tinkle and whose footprints decorate the paths of Braj. May that sweet jingling of the jeweled anklets of Krishna, the master of the milkmaids, be manifest in my mind. Radha's white swans swimming in the lotus-filled ponds of the Yamuna accord that sweet jingling, a warm welcome with the melodious warbling from their throats. May Krishna's nectar-filled sweet lips play in my mind, intoxicated with delight. His broad eyes, reddish like the rising sun, are full of compassion. His hair is standing on end, and because of the touching of Radha's heavy, pitcher-like breasts, I didn't say it, and he has melted the lotus-like hearts of the sages with the sound of his flute. One more. May there appear in my mind some of the ecstatic states of very charming Sri Krishna as he glances at the milkmaid's sweet moon-like faces, agitating them with joy. He seems to be kissing them with his half-closed eyes. As he begins sounding his flute, he assumes the attitude of an adolescent youth.
Just try to understand, right? In other words, in some yogic paths, you'd be trying to forget romance. You'd be trying to forget, all of this.
It's the first thing you're trying to forget. Is you're trying to, how can I get lust out of my mind? I've been attached to lust my whole life. Now I just want to focus on God. And here it is, this erotic pastime.
But Bilva Mangala Thakur, he's someone who's let go of all of his, of all of his sensual weaknesses, right? And now he's sitting as a sadhu in Vrindavan, blind, right? Having let go of all of his material attachments, all of his sexual desires and so on. But he's sitting there relishing. And the way he's describing it, how can you describe, you look into Krishna's eyes and how do you describe them? And he's taking us so deep into, you look into his half-closed eye, his eyes, it's almost like he's intoxicated with love at every moment. This is the God that you give your life to, right? It's not the judge. It's not some impersonal, faceless God. It's a God that whose eyes, how did he describe it? He said it's like they're half kissing. He's kissing.
Oh, yeah.
His half-closed eyes, it's like he's kissing them with their eyes. This look is like so affectionate and loving, that you just never seen eyes like this before in your life.
One more, Prabhu. One more.
Okay.
We worship Lord Krishna, who is mischievously keeping his eyes closed, pretending to sleep, in order to hear the milkmaid's playful talks, which are so pleasing to the ear and mind. Like they're talking about how affection, right? Just think about like overhearing someone saying nice things about you, but it's Krishna hearing his lovers speak about him, and he's pretending to sleep, so they keep on talking.
Yeah, I think this is like a little sweet baby Krishna in this.
Right?
One, right? Yeah,
Though Krishna is trying to restrain himself, a gentle smile trickles from his lips, drop by drop, and he cannot check the rising tide of love, which causes his hair to begin to stand on end.
This is why Krishna is not the one that's responsible for creation and maintenance and destruction of the spiritual. He delegates all of that.
No. Krishna outsources that all to
yeah, he doesn't need
India. He outsources.
He doesn't get off on any of that. You know, it's like, oh, hey, it's like we are confused and we think, if I create, if I destroy, I'm big, I'm powerful. He doesn't even need that.
Did you ever call Sprint operator or something and you get someone like, hello, my name is Mathura Prasad. Mathura Prasad, where are you? He's like, are you a bridge bossy? He goes, yes, I am a bridge bossy. I'm always getting like Mathura Prasad picking up the phone.
Why are you bringing that up right now? What is the connection?
Because I was saying he outsources it to Krishna doesn't do that work. He outsources it.
Like we outsource that to India. Right. So all he's interested in, he's not, he can create universes and destroy universes, and all he's interested, he's lying down on the bed with his eyes half closed, and he's hearing about the love that his devotees have for them, and he's trying to fake it. And actually, although he's the all-powerful God who can create and destroy universes, he can't prevent himself from smiling when he's hearing about their love for him. Right? He becomes controlled by their love, and he gives himself away. Right? He can do anything. He can't stop himself from smiling. He's like a little boy that can't help but give it away. Right? But can't. Yeah.
Okay.
This is the God that the sages of Vrindavan fall in love with. Right? You have to try to understand it.
Different. It's different. Okay, Kostuba, close your eyes.
Right.
Close your eyes. All right. Now picture, everybody close their eyes. Everybody close their eyes. Now picture like you're in a dank, dark basement.
Dank, dark basement. Okay.
Basement. And it's sort of like, like moist, like a basement. It's a dungeon of sorts. Moldy, smells. It's very, very dark. Pitch black. There's a little window with bars on it. On your wrist are heavy chains.
Okay.
And in those chains, we see a lady. She's also chained up.
Okay.
And it's a very sad scene. And they're distraught and they're thin, right? But now, today, on this day, something magical happens. This lady becomes effulgent, like her body starts to glow. This is Devaki. Devaki's body is effulgent and lighting up the darkness of this dungeon.
Devaki is
Krishna's mother.
Krishna's mother.
And the father, who's in chains, is witnessing this. And you're in there. You're in the prison cell also. And you're witnessing this. And you're watching. The father, well, what is going on with my wife? And he says to his wife, something is happening. Something magical is happening to your body. And the body's lightening up the entire room. And then that birth of Lord Krishna. Now the baby comes out, but immediately the baby starts to manifest these four arms of Vishnu and this crown and the Kostuba gem where you get your name, right? The Sri Vatsa and the yellow dhoti. And he starts to give instructions. He said, you're Vasudev, I want you to take this baby. And I want you to take this baby across the river. There's a cowherd king named Nanda, and they just had a baby girl. And you're to take this baby and switch it with that baby. And then you're to come back. And he's realizing at this time, I'm standing face to face with the supreme personality of Godhead.
Otherwise, it'd be hard to do the switch the baby thing. But
it'd be hard to do the switch the baby. And he starts to tell, like, Devaki, I'm here because of you. For lifetimes, you prayed to me, right? She's no ordinary woman. She's like a most powerful yogi who has a strong intention. Now, a lot of the people who listen to the show are powerful yogis. But have you ever had the intention before your yoga class to say, I want the Supreme Personality of Godhead as my child? Probably not. When the teacher says set an intention, you probably didn't say that. But she did. and she had previous births where she had Krishna as her child.
Right.
And now again, Krishna's appearing as her child. And then after this four-arm form assumed back to the little baby form of Krishna, Vasudeva picked up this child.
His chains became unlinked.
Yeah, he couldn't understand. Well, how am I supposed to cross the river? I'm in chains. There's a bolted door. There's guards, but the guards are sleeping soundly. His chains magically, mystically undid themselves, and the door swung open as if a simple breeze could make it open. Huh?
Okay.
And then he walked into the pouring rain with this little baby, and then Ananta Shesh, right? The serpent you always see over Vishnu's head manifested, served as an umbrella to keep that baby dry. Everything seemed, this is our spiritual life. It's like one little step after another. How do I go forward? It seems like the whole world is against me. And there's that deep faith in Krishna, and Krishna just provides. When we're really feeling destitute, instead of going inside and collapsing, we move forward on our spiritual path, and Krishna's right there, providing that next step for us. And then finally, the next hurdle. I'm at the Yamuna River. There's a storm out. It's flooded. How the heck am I supposed to cross the Yamuna River? The Yamuna starts to separate. Because Yamuna Devi, she wants to have darshan. She wants to serve the devotees, and she leaves a little trickle of water on the bottom just to wash the servant of Krishna Vasudeva's feet as he walks through. This is amazing stuff. This is the day. This is the day she turns effulgent like that. Nice meditation for our day.
Thank you, Raghunath.
Srimad Bhagavatam, ready?
I'm ready. Lord Shiva is ready to join the celebration today.
This is exciting. This is exciting. Okay, let's dive in with our prayers. Everybody, live, real loud. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Madatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. It's a great prayer, isn't it? I was born in the darkness of ignorance. If you just look back to life before Krishna entered your life, I was like, just like walking into walls, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Mara, where are we at?
Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 24, Text 45.
Text 45.
So now Lord Shiva has been instructing the yogis, the prachetas, into how to meditate. He's sharing his own meditation. And he's a lot like Bilva Mangala Thakur sitting in Vrindavan there, right? First he glorified all the manifestations of Krishna who are responsible, the delegated powers of Krishna, right? Within the material realm, those that are responsible for the senses, those are responsible for the material elements, because he knows he's encaged in a body of the mind and the material elements and so on. So he's praying to the governors of those material elements so that he'll be free to focus his thoughts in yogic focus, exactly where he wants him to go. And now we're hearing exactly where he wants him to go. Yesterday we heard that he prayed that I want to see that form of of the Lord that is the most dear to the devotees. And that means that the form of Sri Krishna. Now these next verses describe that form. This is his meditation.
We're yogic focused from Canaan, New York.
All right.
Like my new band. It's a little bit more spiritual.
Okay.
Some
Yogic
tablas.
focused. It's a little pretentious name, but
A little
okay.
pretentious. We're playing at Bhakti Stock next week.
We're yogic focused, although we're not focused at all right now.
All right, translation. The Lord's beauty resembles a dark cloud during the rainy season. We don't even get those
that's the
dark
color.
clouds. We don't even have a monsoon season, but it's a
We do have dark
blackish,
clouds.
bluish.
But,
Yeah, I guess we do. As the rainfall glistens, his bodily features also glisten. Indeed, he is the sum total of all beauty.
Mm.
Everything is just like one beautiful poem after another, isn't it?
Yep.
The Lord has 4 arms and an exquisitely beautiful face, with eyes like lotus petals, a beautiful, highly raised nose, a mind-attracting. I was picturing thousands of different noses it could be like. Okay. A mind-attracting smile, right?
Mm-hmm.
A beautiful forehead. Sometimes people don't have beautiful foreheads. This is a very beautiful forehead. And an equally beautiful and fully decorated ears.
Got different kind of earrings on that sparkle in different ways.
All
Right?
right. Yep. Next verse.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The Lord is super excellently beautiful on account of his open and merciful smile and his sidelong glance upon his devotees. His black hair is curly, and his garments, waving in the wind, appear like flying saffron pollen from the lotus flower. His glittering earrings, his shining helmet, his bangles, his garland, his ankle bells, his waist belt, and various other bodily ornaments combined with conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower, right? That's what he's carrying in his hand.
Or they're
Conch
also
shell.
printed on his hands too, like he has the marks on his hands.
Really?
Yep.
Is a conch shell, disc, and club, and lotus flower in his hands?
Wait till you read the purport.
Ooh. To increase the natural beauty of the Kaustubha pearl on his chest.
Purport.
Purport. The Prahasitapanga, Prahasitapanga, Tapanga, referring to Krishna's smile and sidelong glances at his devotees, specifically applies to his dealings with the cowherd ladies. Krishna is always in a joking mood when he increases the feelings of conjugal ras in the hearts of the cowherd girls. The concha, club, disc, and lotus flower can either be held in the hands or seen on the palms of his hands. According to palmistry, the signs of a conch shell, club, lotus flower, and disc mark the palms of great personalities and especially indicate the supreme personality of Godhead. So that's one way the astrologers check to see who this kid is and are there auspicious signs, inauspicious signs.
Is he Krishna?
What's that?
Is he the supreme personality?
Is
Got
he-
it? Yes, he's got them all right there on the palm.
Yep, there he is.
We don't just buy into anyone saying that they're God, right? Let's take a look
Yeah.
at your palm there for a second.
Yeah. We do a little palm check first. Mary, you want to tell us of your divine, that you're a divine avatari? We're going to check your palms. You're not going to just
We're not gonna
walk in
buy
here
into
and
anybody.
buy into your but I don't think they actually look like those things. You know
That's
what I mean?
You said
Like
before, but I don't know why you're saying that. What's your reference on that?
my study of palmistry.
Well, that's palmistry for like ordinary people.
Well, you think it actually looks like a conch shell on a club, like a tattoo?
Why not?
All right, you know what? We're gonna get a palm reader on the show. You know who knows palmistry? Abhimanyu. We'll get Abhimanyu.
I don't know if he's necessarily going to know this. So you see, in other words, what you want to do is
because there could be just something like a conch shell that they call a conch shell, like the
Well,
Star of Wisdom. Or
but this is you're in the realm of speculation here, Raghunath.
I am. That's what I'm thinking. I'm feeling like actual conch shell.
Where's your faith? Your faith, Raghunath.
I have faith. I just think it may not look like that. I have a lot of faith. I just think it might be different.
All right. What we do know,
I don't think that makes him less God just because they call these things conch shell. No, just like ever see like that's the You know, what's a celestial body in the sky, Mara?
You see,
Saturn?
Saturn.
Orion or something. You know what I mean? Like a star. Then like looks nothing like.
But this is
me
Krishna's hands. You see,
Give me a celestial thing,
Like
Mara.
a dipper, the Big Dipper.
The Big Dipper does look like a dipper.
Yeah, it does.
Give me something that doesn't look like something.
What's the one with the guy with the bow?
The guy with the bow. The guy with the bow looks nothing like a guy with a bow.
Yeah,
It's like poetic license of the astrologer. Like, oh, it could be a bow.
But
You know what I mean?
This is Krishna's hand, Krishna's feet, Krishna's hands. They're not ordinary feet and hands. People look at them and meditate on them and are completely captivated by their beauty, Raghunath. These are not. Don't try to impose the ordinary on the extraordinary. There's a takeaway. There's a takeaway for you. Yeah. Don't try to.
You can't
impose
claim your own
ordinary.
takeaway.
I just claimed it. Don't try to impose your ordinary on the extraordinary, Raghunath. Don't do it.
And then hashtag this one. You can't claim your own takeaway. How about that?
Well, you just did it.
I know.
That's a Fibonacci spiral right there, Raghunath.
Orion's belt. Orion. That was what it is. Oh, Kelly says it does look like a belt. Okay. All right. Now we're going to talk about the Kaustubha.
Okay.
The Lord has shoulders just like a lion's. Upon these shoulders are garlands, necklaces, and epaulettes. What's that, Maren? Epaulette.
So it's like shoulder tassel things that they have. And I mean, that's like the military. The military uniforms have those shoulder tassel things.
All right. Is
Ryan's
what
nodding.
Sugar test.
Captain, we got Captain Crystal here. Have you ever heard about epaulette?
It's a French
That's
word.
what they are.
Yeah, I think it's epaulette.
Epaulette. We have Captain Crystal here. She's part
What
of
exactly does it mean? Does it mean some kind of shoulder decoration?
I can tell you right now. It
'Cause we
means
need
an
this for-
ornamental shoulder piece on an item of clothing, especially on the coat or jacket of a military
Yes.
uniform.
I have Captain
it's a
Crystal
shoulder
here.
piece.
She's saying it's one of those things that go right on the shoulder and hang from it.
You didn't believe it when I said it, though, huh?
No. Well,
Just joking.
no, my point is, I believe it when you said, but my question is, just like the definition said, especially like this. But I think Krishna's not wearing one of those jackets, and he's got some other kind of
You
shoulder.
don't think Krishna has
Other
some
sort
type
of
of military
ornamental
jacket on?
I don't picture him that way.
Okay. And on the dark chest of the Lord are the streaks, right? He has streaks named Srivatsa, which are signs of the goddess of fortune. Now, we had a whole show on these little hairs on Krishna's chest, the golden hair that appears on his chest that represent the goddess of fortune.
Mhm.
It's called Srivatsa.
It's a swirl. It's like a
Whirl.
whirl. A swirl.
You said a swirl.
A squirrel.
And wait a second, here it is. The glittering of these streaks excels the beauty of the golden streaks on the. Wait a second, I missed the Kaustubha jewel. And all of these are glittering. Besides these, there's the beauty of the Kaustubha money pearl. The money is a gem, right? Kaustubha
Yeah.
money pearl.
Sometimes he says pearl.
Right. And on the dark chest of the Lord, there are streaks named Srivatsa, which are signs of the goddess of fortune. The glittering of these streaks excels the beauty of the golden streaks on a gold testing stone. What's a gold testing stone?
In other words, like jewelers and so on. Like say you bring in this, hey, this is made of gold. Well, you're going to test it. You're going to rub it on this stone.
Now
And
they
when
have
you-
machines. They just put it in.
Okay, well,
There must have been a stone. I'm going to look
there's
that
a
up.
stone.
man.
You rub it on the
Testing
stone.
stones.
to check to see if it was if you know
Real
if it's real
gold,
gold.
okay.
So then if you have that stone, it's a beautiful stone because it starts to be covered all in glittering gold.
Mm. Indeed, such. Good,
We
okay.
can imagine that as a dark stone, and Krishna's chest is dark, and he's got this
Yeah,
golden.
that's good. That's good. Indeed, such beauty defeats a gold testing stone. Very interesting.
Now we're gonna sing. I want a gold.
I want a
testing
gold
stone."
testing stone.
Oh, we're almost out of time. We could go extra if you want. Maybe
Just
a few
got
more.
a few
over there.
more verses because we're in it.
Yeah.
The Lord's abdomen is beautiful due to 3 ripples of flesh. He's a little chubby.
Mm.
He's a little chubby. He doesn't have any abs. Who cares about abs? We want a little chubby baby, right?
Mhm.
Being so round, his abdomen resembles the leaf of a banyan tree, and which he exhales and inhales, the movement of the ripples appears very, very beautiful, right? Like a little
So
baby
maybe that is
breathing.
like abs, the
It's
banyan
not
tree.
abs. I think it's more like a little baby breathing.
Oh, well, a banyan tree leaf,
You know how sometimes little babies look a little chubby, like a belly?
but not like but a banyan tree leaf. The marking on that is more like cut.
I don't think
I
Krishna
think
was
he's a little
ripped.
cut.
The
We'll have to
coils-
see. We'll have to see ourselves, right?
Or see, you know what? Intense prayer to see Krishna face to face. I'm
Right,
gonna be like,
see
he
Krishna
was chubby.
face to
He was
abdomen.
chubby.
Same face to
Wasn't
abdomen.
ripped. Wait till I tell Kostuma. Unless you get there first, then you got to tell me.
He's ripped.
You just get on the show one day, Raghunath, Krishna's ripped.
And still, there's a little bit of chubbiness, maybe.
I hope we get enlightened on the same day.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be great? I'm enlightened,
I'm ready for it.
but we're not allowed to tell anyone. Maybe we're already enlightened.
Hold it. Chapu's sharing something over here, and this may help answer the question. We're gonna.
The navel of the Lord is so deep and coiling that it appears that the whole universe again wants to withdraw into the navel, being attracted by the Lord's beauty. The Lord's navel and the ripples on his belly always increase the beauty of his bodily features.
We still don't
get it.
know. We don't know. We still don't
Curious.
know.
We need
Is it
enlightenment.
more ripped, or is it?
One day I'm going to come on enlightened on the show. There's going to be that day, and I'm just going to start no Kostubits like this. No
Right.
Kostubits. I've seen it.
I'm waiting for that day eagerly.
Me too. Although, okay, the Lord's abdomen is the coil. Okay, next one.
The coil. Testing stone.
The lower part of the Lord's waist is dark and covered with yellow garments and a belt bedecked with golden embroidery work. His symmetrical lotus feet, right? Part of beauty is symmetry. His symmetrical lotus feet and the calves, thighs, and joints of his legs are extraordinarily beautiful.
You just can't stop
Indeed.
looking at it when you see it, right?
Indeed, the Lord's entire body appears to be well built. My dear Lord, your two lotus feet are so beautiful that they appear like two blossoming petals of the lotus flower, which grows during the autumn season. Indeed, the nails of your lotus feet emanate such great effulgence that they immediately dissipate all the darkness in the heart of a conditioned soul. My dear Lord, kindly show me that form of yours, which always dissipates all kinds of darkness in the heart of a devotee. My dear Lord, you are the supreme spiritual master of everyone. Therefore, all conditioned souls covered with the darkness of ignorance can be enlightened by you as the spiritual master.
I think one more verse we're gonna.
My dear Lord, those who desire to purify their existence must always engage in meditation upon your lotus feet, as described above. Those who are serious about executing their dharma, their occupational duties, and who want freedom from fear. I would like that, freedom from fear.
Well, then this is what you must do.
Must take to this process, always meditating on lotus feet of Krishna.
Of Bhakti Yoga.
Of Bhakti Yoga. Jai. Bo Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai. Vrindavan Bihari Lal. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai. Shri Krishna Janma Maha Mahotsava ki Jai. Woo! Today's the day, people. It's the day to sing.
Takeaways. We got takeaways.
What about takeaways? Whoa, hold
Sorry,
this on.
man.
You got a takeaway, Mary?
Hold it.
Yeah, we
it.
got
That was
some
a little
takeaways.
anticlimactic.
We're getting too carried away here.
All right. Takeaways. Interacting with devotees has a special sweetness.
It does. It really does.
It's special.
See the spiritual thread running through.
Mm-hmm.
Krishna tags people to touch our lives.
Tag. You're it.
Prostitute, you're it.
You're it.
Hot dog salesman, you this time.
You never know. You never know who it's going to be.
Meat eater, this time it's going to be you.
Yeah. You're going to tag a person.
We can be deeply connected in any situation.
Yes. Yes, we
Can
can.
be.
Break the habits of external vision and find the essence.
Break the habits of external visions and find the essence.
Humility is the conduit for Krishna's mercy.
There we go.
Hmm.
Commit to seeing Krishna face to face.
Make
Commit
that
to-
commitment.
Don't try to impose your ordinary on the extraordinary.
No.
And shape-shifting will come. You don't need to endeavor separately.
That's right, Ragnar. It's gonna
Unless you
come.
want to serve Krishna, then you might want to. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks everybody live. Say Harry Ball in the back. Woo! We got a crazy group here coming for John Mastami. Or if you're in the Tri-City area or New York area, you go see Kostuba tonight at the Bhakti Center and a host of other celestial beings who are going to be there celebrating Lord Krishna.
Look at Gus over there. What's up with Gus?
He's meditating on Krishna's lotus feet.
All
He
right.
might be in samadhi. You never
He's
know.
Stunned. He's stunned.
He was tagged by a young cat who enlightened him as a child puppy. And now he is deeply in mood. That's the dust of Brudge right behind him. You see that?
Yep. I
Look
see.
at Krishna playing his flute in that picture. Isn't that beautiful?
Lovely.
Oh, Krishna. So, anyway, thanks everybody for joining us. Please join us live on Zoom if you like. Go to Wisdom of the Sages 108@gmail.com. And if you like what we're doing, go to patreon.com/Wisdom of the Sages. Looks like Akiko-san has just showed up.
Akiko.
She
In
was
the
just here
background.
on Zoom this morning saying that she needed
What's going
a ride.
on?
I just saw Akiko. I just saw yesterday. I was down on the Lower East Side and I saw a nail salon named Akiko. She knows about that. She knows about it.
You woke up the dog for meditation, Akiko. He's like, what? I was like, Gus was like garlanding Krishna in his dream, and then Kiko screamed.
She's like, go back to sleep. Look at that. She put him right back down.
Put him right back down. Hey, everybody, keep
Not too
your eyes
hard
posted.
with
We're
Gus.
doing our Wisdom of the Sages retreat in October. You can go to wisdomofthesages.com, Sage Academy, and of course, Wisdom of the Sages will have their retreat about, if it's not announced yet, it will be about to be announced in India at the Govardhan Eco Village, along with a 300-hour Kirtan Academy, etc. In January, you want to get away from these cold winters. That's what we're doing. But for now, put your hands in the air. This is our muja for I trust sweet Krishna. I trust sweet Krishna to take control of my life.